What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Den. This is your host, Aaron EBM, and welcome to the Thought and Talk podcast. Although I've been thinking, is it really a podcast if I'm the only person in here? No, whatever. Everybody else is calling their stuff podcast, so this is what we're going to go with. So, hello, everybody. I hope everybody is doing well. I'm doing all right. Been off for a few days because, it's good once in a while to detox from this stuff. You got to detox from the internet. You got to get away from this stuff. And you got to really think about what's important. So that's why I decided to come up with tonight's topic, which is 90 minutes or 90 seconds? Can't even remember my own stuff. To doomsday. 90 seconds till doomsday. Let me get some stuff together. I hope you all are doing well. Give time for people to get it up in here. The dog is crying. I don't know what's wrong with him. So anyway, hope y'all guys are doing all right. And we are in here for another one. How's your guys' week doing? Hope y'all week has been doing well. If you've been paying attention to anything that's been going on out here, it's craziness. It's madness. So if you've been able to stay awake or stay alive and stay healthy, that's great. If you haven't, I hope you get well soon. Let me see, get some stuff going on. Moving over here. Hold on, I'm gonna get my stuff together. Yep, that's the next thing on my agenda. I need a new computer. I need a faster computer. I need a stronger computer. So anybody have any recommendations for a powerful computer, let me know. I'll take on any suggestion. Let me get my stuff going on. Yes. Make sure. I don't know why it doesn't let you see stuff. Anyway, move my stuff over here. Like I said, I hope you guys are doing all right. Hope you guys are doing well. I am doing just fine. Yes. Again, 90 seconds till midnight. If you know what that means, that's in reference to the doomsday clock. If you haven't heard about the doomsday clock, I'll give you a quick definition of the doomsday clock as soon as I can find it. Yeah, that's not it. Get that over here. All right. All right, so the doomsday clock is a symbol that represents the likelihood of human-made global catastrophe in the opinions of members of the Bulletin of the Atomic Scientists. It was maintained since 1947. The clock is a metaphor for threats to humanity from unchecked scientific technology and advances. So what that is, or what that means, is pretty much it was a clock made up to really monitor how dumb we were as humans and how long we had to the technology that we continue to make will destroy humanity. And it was pretty much made to really give a gauge on how close we were to, our own annihilation. So if you know who I am, I love the conspiracy. I love the scientific or the sciences, and I love the thought of extraterrestrials, even if we haven't seen them. For the most part, it's nice to look at. It's nice to think about. It's nice to let your brain kind of stew in the thought of that happening. But if you really thought about it, it made me think about the Fermi's paradox. And if you haven't heard about the Fermi's paradox, I'm going to pull that up for you in a minute. Anybody who has heard of the Fermi's paradox, let me move that over here, that picture over here. The Fermi's paradox. Give me a picture. Give you understanding of what the Fermi's paradox is. Now, the Fermi's paradox is, if you think about it, let me see. I can't move anything. I don't know why that's not working. Anyway, I'll pull it back up in a minute. If you think about how big the universe is and the size, the sheer size and almost infinite size of space in the vacuum of space, why haven't humans seen extraterrestrials or aliens, proof of aliens, and why haven't we had contact as big as the universe is and as small as we are? Why haven't we really made contact or seen contact with people or creatures or entities from another planet or another universe? Why haven't we seen it? Now, the Fermi's paradox is a discrepancy between the lack of conclusive evidence of advanced extraterrestrial life compared to the apparent high priori likelihood of its existence. You think about it, it's almost impossible for there not to be some sort of different alien species outside of what we know because of the sheer size of the universe. It's almost impossible for it not to be some kind of life, some kind of living sentient life in the universe somewhere. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense that we haven't seen nor heard of something like this. Now, which brings me to why I made 90 Seconds to Midnight, and why does this have anything to do with the 90 Seconds to Midnight clock? If you think about the Fermi's paradox and what the Fermi's paradox is, why, it doesn't, the sheer impossibility of it not being another life on this planet doesn't make sense. So what the Fermi's paradox is doing, it is saying, if I can pull that up again, let's try the screen only. If I pull this up again, there's reasons in the Fermi's paradox on what is happening and why we really haven't seen any other human life, or not human life, but extraterrestrial life, according to the size of the sheer size of the universe. Now, we have life evolved. There's different grades and different species, what they have in as far as species in the universe. And what's they believe is happening, I'm blow it up here, is that life evolves right here from the beginning. That's where you have your. See if I can see myself again. For some reason, it's not letting me see my other camera. But oh well, it's freezing up on me. I'll fix it in a second. We got life evolves. That's the beginning. Life is coming from, the primordial soup. If you believe in, evolution, if you believe in, God the creator, you believe that you were created from God and in his image, you believe that's cool. That's where they're saying that life is beginning. No matter what your thought is, no matter what your belief is, this is where that life began. If God made you, that's where it began. If you came out of that primordial soup, this is where your life began. Now, they have an evolutionary leap. This is what happens when you have, industrialization. You have people beginning to really figure out what they are and who they are as a species. Now, you got humans right here in the evolutionary leap. You got to have another species, and you have a species, B species in humans, and then rare species. what's happening, what they believe is happening, is there is a great filter, no matter what we are, not just humans, no matter if you feel like there's another species in the universe, or there's another species in the universe, there is in this great evolution that we continue to have, there is a gigantic filter that's stopping us from seeing each other. Now, whether you think that's malevolent or if it's our own undoing, it's two different things. I believe it's of our own doing. You just seen what I said about the doomsday clock, 90 seconds till midnight. I believe there is a barrier to where sentient and intelligent beings begin to get too smart. Have you ever thought about a person or a species or anything out there? Just when you think about people, is it or I'm saying like this, or can you ever be too smart? Too smart for your own good. You ask yourself about the artificial intelligence conversation. Why a normal person would ask, why would you want to seek out complete autonomous artificial intelligence that does not need you to sustain? What will eventually happen is, humans will actually make themselves obsolete. So, if you think the artificial intelligence will take you over or not and kill you is one thing, but the thought has to be made and the precautions have to be there. As Elon Musk is on the same thought wave as that. We can get so smart and so advanced and so intelligent that it's it doesn't make it any good for us. It makes it to I'll say it like this: it'll continue to be a point to where we get so smart that it'll be our own demise. Whether you think it's artificial intelligence on that great filter that I was talking about, or like the 90 seconds to midnight doomsday clock, is it a time to where we get so advanced that our own search and our own exploration of being the most powerful, the most intelligent, the most fear beings, or wherever we are, or feared species or race, will that come a time to where that is our own destruction? And that's what the Fermi's paradox is. The Fermi's paradox is saying that in this evolutionary of these evolutionary boundaries, we all get to a point to where we get so cocky, we get so intelligent, we get so evolved that we end up either destroying each other or we end up destroying ourselves. That's what the Fermi's paradox is. That's one reason or one way or one thing they believe that's keeping us from actually meeting each other like we should. Compared to the size of the universe, we should already see each other, but there's something that they believe that is just either destroying us or it's destroying each other. They believe it's only a matter of time before either these people meet each other and destroy each other, or they destroy themselves. Now, you think about the advancements of nuclear technology. Can this happen? We like to live in our bubbles and think that this stuff will never or can never happen to us. But you think about it. You think about the advancements of nuclear technology. You think of the advancements of, electronic technologies, EMPs, anything like that. At the snap of a finger, we can pretty much take ourselves out of the standing of being dominant. Anybody can. With the snap of a finger, it's over with. And people don't realize how easy it is for one day you're eating your breakfast, eating your cereal, doing whatever you're doing. And then the next thing you know, you're out of lights and you don't have lights again for another 30, 40 years. People don't think it can happen, but it can happen with the advancements of technology. What we've been doing to ourselves or the knowledge that we have been gaining is only a matter of time. See if I can get this, my camera fixed. Take that off of there real quick. All right. Capture device. Okay. Yeah, for some reason, it's all froze up, but we're gonna keep it going. You know, the show must go on. So you say 90 seconds to midnight. You think about why they made this clock during the Cold War. You know, they even thought it back then. How long would it be until the superpowers destroy each other or destroy the entire planet, trying to seek out and destroy each other? Well, if you're living in your bubble, if you weren't born during the Cold War, which most of us were not, if we were on these podcasts, we were not grew up in a time and a place to where we thought that we would wake up one morning and the world we knew would be forever changed by nuclear war. But this time, and that fear has rose up again, and I didn't even realize it. I didn't even realize it as a regular person. I didn't realize how close we were for that happening. Let me see. That's working still. So for some reason, this stuff is froze up. So we're only gonna play this stuff. This is why the next video we're gonna look at is gonna tell you why the people that made the Doomsday Clock Why they make it? What are they talking about? Why is has it came back up in the news again as moving it ever so closely to that 12 o'clock midnight? Because look at what we're having right now over in across the seas, with the two countries warring with each other. How we are inserting ourselves in those issues, and think about the people that we have on our side as allies, and think about the other side who they have as allies. And any wrong move could put you at a point, just like on that Fermi's paradox, when we're destroying each other. But it doesn't really make sense unless you look at it as a whole. I'm gonna try to see if I can get this thing to work again. Right now, we're only going to look at the screen, but look, this is what I seen the other day. Make sure y'all can hear it.
It's been over 80 years since a major conflict has broken out in Europe. The result has left many with a deep sense of uncertainty. Nearly 70% of Americans surveyed by the American Psychological Association feared that we are at the beginning stages of World War III. The prospect of nuclear conflict, once unthinkable, is now a very real possibility. Today, we're going to explore the unthinkable. How would the United States respond during a nuclear conflict? What's America's nuclear war plan? How many nuclear weapons?
This is the other thing that's messed up about YouTube. How is it that these people on these YouTube channels, you know, this one, I believe, I can't remember what the name of the channel is, but I'll put it in the down in under the comments when I get done with this live stream. How they got America's nuclear plans and nuclear books and on strategy and what we would do in these different scenarios, but
are readily available to the president. Where are they? What are their targets? How many missiles would be launched? How many casualties could we expect after American bombs reach their destinations? What would the world look like going forward? And most importantly, could the United States win a global nuclear war?
Now, you guys got to realize how crazy this is. We just had this situation where we had balloons going on all over the Midwest, one of which I had seen myself with my own eyes. I didn't think I would be able to see it. Now, I'm here in Missouri and I was able to see it. You think about somebody being able to have, you know, the ability for somebody to drop something on you. If you really think about it, if that thing did have some kind of payload on it, they would have hit people. That's how easy it is. That's how crazy it is for people not to believe that, you know, any day could be your last. And why not live your day to the best and the fullest? Why keep putting stuff off, waiting for something to change in your life? Why not just do what you need to do in your life now? You know, be able to serve your purpose and live your life to the fullest, because any day or any time that could happen. I actually watched a video where a balloon during World War II from Japan was dropped on some payload was dropped on somebody in the States, and was only the one time only that somebody was able, or another country was able, to infiltrate our space and actually just create harm on somebody. So it could happen to you. You know, I'm not trying to scare people. I'm just trying to get people to realize that, you know, your time, you never know about how short your time is. And it's really wild about how easily something could happen in this world we live in. But we're going to continue.
The United States operates under a nuclear triad, consisting of land-based intercontinental ballistic missiles, or ICBMs, sea-based submarines armed with submarine-launched ballistic missiles, or SLBMs, and air-based strategic bombers, carrying gravity bombs and air-launched nuclear cruise missiles. Now let's take a look at each part of America's triad and its weapon delivery systems. The first and most well-known part of America's nuclear triad is its land-based intercontinental ballistic missiles, or ICBM.
All right, now y'all paying attention to where this is, right? In the United States, you got California right here. You got the Rocky Mountains over here. Guys, pay attention closely to where exactly this is. We're going to talk about that in just a second.
The U.S. has 400 LGM-30 Minuteman III ICBMs.
All right, so that's 400 intercontinental ballistic missiles with nuclear warheads. 400 nuclear warheads at America's helm. That's just 400 right now.
That are launched via silos.
Recordings just got back.
Want to hear no ad? Anyway, we don't do no ads. I'll talk here while this ad is playing. But
hey, it's Dana from StreamYard. I'm so excited to announce that local recordings are now available on StreamYard. Right now. Have you ever done a recording where your guest just had terrible internet issues? They were blurry, they were freezing, you could almost hardly hear them. Well, with local recordings from StreamYard, you'll be able to download a perfect quality video from your guest after the show.
Anyway, let's go back up.
These 400 missiles have a range of over 6,000 miles and have near pinpoint accuracy. When launched, the three-stage Minuteman III travels at speeds of over 15,000 miles per hour, reaching its target in under 30 minutes. Each Minuteman III missile carries one warhead. 200 Minuteman III missiles are armed with a 335 kiloton W-87 Mark 21A warhead, while the other half are armed with a 300 kiloton W-78 Mark 12 warhead. Each warhead has around 40 times the destructive power of the bombs dropped on Japan in 1945.
So y'all hear, okay, it sounds like a bunch of gibberish, but when you hear how they compare the size of these nuclear warheads compared to what they dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, it begins to make sense.
America's Minuteman III silos are based in 3 rural areas: the 90th Missile Wing at F.E. Warren Air Base in Colorado, Nebraska, and Wyoming, the 91st Missile Wing at Minot Air Force Base in North Dakota, and the 341st Missile Wing at Malmstrom Air Force.
All right, that's what I was talking about, the 341st Missile Wing, Malmstrom Air Force Base. This is exactly where that white balloon was coming over before they shot it down. They didn't shoot it down till after it made it, all over the Air Force Base. But that balloon did travel over this nuclear silo, or this nuclear this where they keep this intercontinental ballistic missile at. Those flight plans that those balloons were on was not a coincidence. It was not a coincidence. And if you think it is, something's wrong with you.
Force Base in Montana. Each wing has 3 squadrons, and each squadron has 50 Minuteman III silos. They're collectively controlled by 5 hardened underground control launch centers, each operated with 2 military officers around the clock at all times. In the event that launch command centers are destroyed in a surprise attack, or the military officers inhabiting the launch command control centers get cold feet, these missiles can and will be remotely launched from an airborne command center, carrying out orders from the president.
Okay, this is what they always talking about having your finger on the red button, that nuclear button, because any president has access to that button at all times. This is why you don't want dictators. This is why you don't want people in the military, or this is why America doesn't allow people. Well, y'all need to see me for that. This is why America does not allow generals or different people in the military to actually be presidents of the United States, because it's too easy for someone with that kind of power, with that kind of military background, active military, to be at the forefront or be at the helm of that button. This is why they don't allow it.
As with all things, there are advantages and disadvantages of the silo-based Minuteman III. Its primary advantage is that these 400 missiles make the most responsive leg of the nuclear triad. America's land-based ICBM force has remained on continuous around-the-clock 24/7 alert since 1959. They can be quickly launched in less than 5 minutes. America's silo-based ICBMs offer a strategic advantage as well. Due to their remote launch capability, an effective nuclear attack against America's Minuteman III silos will require at least 400 warheads, or one bomb aimed at each silo, forcing the enemy to use and deplete a considerable amount of their nuclear arsenal. But this strategic advantage also highlights the Minuteman III's disadvantages. America's land-based Minuteman IIIs are inherently vulnerable, as their location is commonly known, and therefore silos can and will be easily targeted.
This is why you don't want to live around missile silos, but I'm in Missouri, so y'all gonna hear if you're in Missouri or you're anywhere close to Missouri, you're gonna hear. You think Missouri, you think of cows, you think of this barren stuff, but little do you know.
As a result, in the event of a large-scale attack, the president would be put in a sticky situation. He or she would have to either use these 400 missiles or lose them, forcing a large-scale retaliatory attack in response to perceived incoming warheads targeting American silos. With enemy missiles already in flight, the leader of the free world would only have 15 minutes to decide. And once a missile is launched, there is no turning back. The second arm of America's nuclear triad is its air-based strategic bombers. The U.S. Air Force currently operates a fleet of 66 strategic bombers. America's strategic bombers are organized into 9 bomb squadrons and 5 bomb wings at 3 bases.
All right, do you understand the type of nuclear capabilities we have yet? Okay, is it not sinking into the amount of nuclear weapons and nuclear deterrence that we have already? Did you see the amount of planes? Did you see the amount of missile silo ICBMs? The submarines? It's nuts. Let's keep going.
Minot Air Force Base in North Dakota, Barksdale Air Force Base in Louisiana, and Whitman Air Force Base in Missouri.
All right, this is where I am. Whiteman Air Force Base. I don't want to give away too much, but Whiteman Air Force Base. I'm like at least 30 miles away from Whiteman Air Force Base. People in Missouri, most people in Missouri don't even pay attention to the fact that any time you got stealth bombers that have nuclear payloads on them. But this is what happens when you really don't pay attention to everything. And now I'm not saying you don't need to have fun. I'm not saying you don't need to have fun and enjoy your life. Of course, that's the opposite. I want everybody to have fun. This channel is supposed to be for you to relax, but I do need to teach you something from time to time to keep you aware, because these things, they really don't like keeping people aware on the kind of things that can happen. And like I say, anything that can happen will happen, and how close people are to places that will be targeted in the event of something happening.
There are 300 nuclear weapons currently deployed at strategic bomber bases in the U.S. An additional 100 tactical nuclear bombs are deployed at NATO air bases in Europe.
Did you hear that? Even in Europe, we have NATO allies equipped with nuclear weapons in their planes or in these bombers all over the world.
America's bomber fleet consists of 46 B-52 Stratofortress bombers and 20 B-2 stealth bombers. The B-2 stealth bomber can carry up to 16 1,200 kiloton nuclear gravity bombs.
Do y'all hear that? I see B-2 bombers fly over. They fly over just for training, and they fly over for show, for show. But you really don't see them. You really don't see B-2 stealth bombers until it's too late. That's the thing about B-2 stealth bombers. And I'm not even into aviation like that, but when you see a B-2 stealth bomber, it's already over. You can't hear it coming. You can't hear it coming till it's already 30 seconds into dropping something on top of your head. We see them fly over all the time. Like I said, Whiteman is very, very close to where I live. You see them before you hear them. And it's scary to know that if somebody's flying something like that at any time, you never know when it's going to be it.
Each gravity bomb contains a massive payload of 150 times the destructive power of the bomb dropped in Hiroshima. The B-52 Stratofortress bomber is a long-range heavy bomber with the ability to travel up to 9,000 miles without refueling. The B-52 carries up to 20 AGM-86 subsonic air-launched cruise missiles. When launched, the AGM-86 missile can travel over 1,500 miles at speeds exceeding 555 miles per hour, using its independent guidance system to deliver a W-80 150 kiloton warhead.
Do y'all see? So is it sinking in yet? Is it sinking in yet to the amount of firepower that the United States has? And we're not the only one that has something, or stuff like this, or something close like this. This is the issue. This is why when you watch a movie and you see one silo go off, one missile go off, then you see another missile go off, and then somebody across the world pushes a button and their missile goes off, and the next thing you know, the entire planet is engulfed in nuclear hellfire. This is the issue. This is why I believe, that part of the Fermi's paradox is that either civilizations kill each other or they kill themselves in pursuit of power, or in the pursuit of just trying to make things or create things that they really don't have control over. It's interesting on how people think. And I always told people, if there's nothing else human can do, they can perfect the art of destroying each other. That's what humans do best. It's sad. People don't like to talk about it, but it's the truth.
To its target in less than 90 seconds. Each warhead contains around 20 times the destructive power of the bomb dropped on Hiroshima. The primary advantage of using air-based strategic bombers is that they can be called back if necessary. Furthermore, subsonic air-launched nuclear cruise missiles are a lot harder to defend against. When launched, an enemy force would have to counterattack each missile individually, making defense costly and complicated. The small size also makes them difficult to detect on radar. The primary disadvantage of strategic bombers is their response time. They take a lot longer to get in the air, and if air bases aren't on high alert, or if planes aren't already in flight, there's a high probability of them being destroyed in an initial surprise attack. This is particularly true for bomber bases located in Europe.
So it begins. You see what I'm talking about? So it begins. People start to shoot. Countries start to shoot. One country starts to push a button. The next country starts to push a button. And you're looking at the world forever changed. And I'm not doom and gloom. I'm a realist. I'm a realist, and I'm not going to hide my head in the sand and not believe that everybody on this planet that has enough power, we're going to talk about the superpowers, can and will push that button just as quick as we will if something happens, or if different people got out of hand. That's the problem with it. And nobody's thinking about, Mother Earth. Nobody's thinking about, having food or scorching earth or going scorched earth on each other when they're pushing these buttons. It is what it is. One person pushed the button, and then we're talking about Legends of the Kung Fu. Everybody's walking around on a horse and going on horseback trying to survive. It's all of a sudden it's Mad Max Beyond the Thunderdome.
The last and most important part of America's nuclear triad are its nuclear-powered ballistic missile submarines. The U.S. Navy.
See that?
The last.
I'm gonna read it.
The last and most important part of America's nuclear triad are its nuclear-powered ballistic missile submarines. The U.S. Navy operates a fleet of 14 Ohio-class ballistic missile submarines. Each submarine carries 20 Trident II submarine-launched ballistic missiles. The Trident II SLBM is the most destructive weapon in America's nuclear arsenal. Each missile is armed with either 4 or 5 475 kiloton W-88 warheads. In theory,
see, this is what I'm saying. People, see, you don't really realize how good you have it and how in your safe, in your little bubble, how you think things are so safe. But did you hear the amount of nuclear warheads one bomb or one missile has on one of these submarines? Just one. How many warheads they have on one? And you're sitting there believing and thinking that everything is all gravy all the time. And you got to think, and like I said before, we're not the only one that has the capability to launch one of these things from a submarine. That's all that I'm saying. All that I'm saying is we take a lot of stuff for granted because we're sitting on a canister, a pressure can, a powder keg that at any moment when you step on the wrong person's toes, that's it.
theory, each sub can launch its entire 20 missile payload virtually undetected in under 7 minutes.
Negotiating rates can be stressful and time.
Nope, we ain't doing that. We ain't doing ads.
I'm consuming.
One of these days,
especially
if I get big enough
prices,
to where you guys can help me pay for YouTube
market,
Premium
and other frustrating factors at play,
we're just gonna make it happen like it is, and we're gonna continue to make it happen. So, guys, this is we're not finished with the video, but I'm just want to stop and tell you that this not about doom and gloom, but I'm a realist, and I do like looking inside the box. I don't like people having control over me without understanding what they are capable of, and I wish more people would be interested and take up the learning and reading and even watching stuff that's not triggering the hormones of dopamine, and really watch something that will really give you more information and insight on what can and will or can happen. I won't say will. We're going to be positive that what can happen. The people in power, the power that they hold in their hands when they're in that power, and how serious it is, and how you want people representing you that has a good head on their shoulders. This is all I'm saying. I want you guys to pay attention. This isn't always about who makes us feel better. It's not always about who makes us feel good, who makes us happy. Sometimes it's about, the future, your children's future and your children's future. It's not always about what makes us happy in the moment. We might experience a time in our life where things aren't good for the most part, but if we sacrifice, if we fight, we can make it good for the people on the other end. That's where the sacrifice comes. We're so used to not having sacrifice. We're so used to being pampered. We're so used to the generations before us telling us we don't, they worked hard so we wouldn't have to. I work my fingers to the bone so my children would never have to worry about ever working their fingers to the bone either. I mean, that's good for them not to have to work their fingers to the bone, but who said it wasn't good for them to be able to work their fingers to the bone if they needed to? That's the issue that most Americans have. We're too busy trying to distance ourselves from the hard work, from the sacrifice, that we are actually softening the generation that they will never be able to withstand any hard time, if that makes sense.
When launched, the 3-stage Trident II travels at speeds of over 18,000 miles per hour, has a range of over 7,500 miles, and typically reaches its target or targets in around 15 minutes. Each warhead is guided by a multiple independently targetable re-entry vehicle, or MIRV, allowing a single Trident II missile to deliver up to 5 warheads to 5 separate targets. Just one Trident II missile alone, armed with 5 warheads, has 154 times the destructive power of the bomb dropped on Hiroshima. Overall, the U.S. has around 70% of all of its warheads on submarines, and with good.
All right, so y'all hear that? 70%, a good portion. That's what's that? 2/3 of nuclear deterrents are on submarines floating around the ocean. That's just floating around the ocean so they can get to where they want to get to. But remember, we are not alone.
Reason. There are numerous advantages of the ballistic missile submarine. For starters, they make up the most survivable leg of the nuclear triad. Ballistic missile submarines are virtually undetectable at sea. Their stealth design makes finding one an almost impossible task, giving
And remember what I said, we are not alone. So if we have submarines and the quote unquote enemy has submarines, that means they're moving around the ocean virtually undetectable as well. So California is always one of the worst places you can even think about or even want to live, because every once in a while you will hear about in the news about the Russian sub popping his head up when something's about to happen. That's because nobody knows where they're at any state and time, just like nobody knows where ours are at any state and time.
To potential adversaries. With at least 10 submarines on constant patrol at all times, ballistic missile submarines assure that the US can strike at any time, anywhere, even after a surprise attack. With each sub carrying an average of 100 warheads each, they have enough firepower to make just one submarine the 6th most powerful nuclear power in the world. In terms of disadvantages, there simply are none. When people imagine a nuclear war, the first thing.
All right, this is what this is exactly what I'm saying, guys. You know, this when we think about, you know, it's easy for the media to tell us the things we want to hear, to give us the stuff that's going to make us feel happy and feel like everybody should get along and everybody, you know, everybody will get along, can get along. Humans have been doing unimaginable stuff to each other from the beginning of time. This is nothing new. What's happening is technology is advancing, and whenever technology advances, we get a hold of it and be able and are able to make a spear with it, not so much a shield. Think about it. When you're talking about war and you're talking about the advancements of war, back hundreds of years ago, thousands of years ago, the person who had the bow and arrow over, you know, in war, the person that the people that invented bow and arrows or used bow and arrows were at the pinnacle. They had the latest weapon. They were taking people out left and right because of the advancement in technology. Next thing was the musket rifle. Next thing was the semi-automatic or single load or bolt action rifle. Next after that, you had this semi-automatic rifle that didn't need a bolt action, you know. And then you have fully automatic weapons, and then whoever has the fully automatic is the pinnacle. And now it begins to go on, and then the nuclear weapons, and then we're at where we're at. You know, if whoever has 2 nukes has the advantage. Okay, whoever has 4 nukes has the advantage, and you'll see how it's doubling over at any time. We are. That's why the doomsday clock is damn near at midnight, because the tensions. And this is why everybody gets so upset. Nobody wants anybody to just go without. Nobody wants, let's just say Ukraine, since this is at the top, to be without. Nobody wants that. But you got to think about it. It's not just about somebody's wants. You're getting into a situation that could potentially cause the United States to get stuck into a nuclear holocaust. This is why people do not want it when we're not at the forefront of that issue. You know, we don't like the assertion. You know, we had insertions in the Gulf. We had insertions, you know, all in throughout, you know, the last 30, 40 years. And to insert ourselves in the issue to where another superpower is at the helm of these nuclear weapons can make everybody uneasy.
That comes to mind is large cities like Los Angeles and Moscow being incinerated in a blaze of nuclear hellfire. While this would definitely be a likely outcome, the reality is that around 70% of the 1,800 nuclear warheads currently deployed by the United States aren't aimed at large cities, but instead at enemy countries' nuclear forces. To better understand this, we first need to take a look at America's current strategic nuclear war plan, also known as the Single Integrated Operational Plan.
Now, this is what I don't understand about YouTube. This is what I don't understand. How is it, you know, and this could very well be something that's completely outdated. It could be completely outdated. It might just be on here. But how are these people able, well, it might be because of the Freedom of Information Act and the Patriot Act that do have some of these things. But I guarantee that because this stuff is plastered on YouTube, things aren't the way that you think they are in these books. You can almost guarantee that they're not the way they are in these books. So take this stuff with a grain of salt.
Plan, or PSYOP. First drawn up in 1950, the PSYOP focused primarily on the Soviet Union. While today most of the weapons in the war plan still target Russia, other countries such as China, North Korea, India, and Pakistan are included as well. In this video, we'll take a look at a nuclear exchange with the only nuclear power comparable to the United States, the Russian Federation. This portion of America's nuclear war plan is called Major Attack Option 1. Major Attack Option 1 is the most demanding attack option available to the president. Should the Commander-in-Chief order Major Attack Option 1, the resulting attack would consist of over 1,000 warheads, targeting Russian nuclear forces, including ICBM silos, road mobile ICBMs, submarine bases, primary airfields, nuclear storage facilities, design and production complexes, critical command and control facilities, and civilian population centers.
So for the option 1 plan, y'all see how many nuclear options that Russia had on their own? But what makes it crazy is that the United States has, and I'm sure other countries have plans on hitting populated centers. They're saying that they have targeted these populated centers with that already have casualties of war calculated into it. So they play, at any moment in time, they can strike these populated centers, killing people that didn't have or have anything to do with whatever conflict that their countries are in.
Now let's take a look at Major Attack Option 1, its Russian targets, the American nuclear weapons used, and the overall outcome of an American thermonuclear attack on Russia.
Modern Muscle. If you haven't been by Modern Muscle, go check them out. If you like airplanes, jets, war tactics, anything like that to kind of, give your brain a rest on for all this ratchetry we got going on, check out Modern Muscle. It's a good place to go watch out. But reality, this is reality. I want people to understand it's not about doom and gloom. It's not about being scared, not to want to come out and do all the things that you want to do. It's not about that. It's about you being educated. It's about you, instead of saying you're educated all the time, about not being happy about having your business degree or your education degree. Get out and learn something else. Just because you have that degree does not mean you have to turn your brain off to whatever else is out there to learn, because it's whoever is the person that says they've learned everything is a fool. Everything I learned, not everything I learned in my life, but a lot of what I learned in my life comes from outside of, traditional learning. You just sit there and read. You just sit there and watch videos that most people wouldn't watch because they said it was boring. If you sit down and really pull back and look at some of the things that you wouldn't necessarily want to read, you'll find some stuff that you never really even thought could happen, or can or did happen. And then just knowing those things can help people not make some of the same mistakes people made before them. But realize, guys, I want you guys to realize that in the times we are in, with things as expensive as they are, with food prices rising, with the tensions we have with other people in the world, any strike that would strike us would bring us to the people to their knees. And then when I say when people are desperate, when they're people that can't feed their families and their loved ones, that's the time when you begin to lose your rights. That's the times where you'll give up your rights, not even lose them, give up your rights for a loaf of bread, give up your rights for a dozen eggs. With as expensive as eggs are, if we got hit by nuclear strikes, and not able to give our family and loved ones food, wouldn't you give up your right? Most people would give up your rights quickly to have that protection from the government. I don't want you guys to have that. I want you guys to be able to be smart. I want you guys not to just not be educated, in your schooling. Be educated in everything. Don't be just educated in marketing. Be educated in all things around you to understand that when anything happens, none of that stuff is going to matter. If something happens to that grave to the United States, to where you can't feed your food, who cares if you have a doctorate in basket weaving? This is what I'm telling you. You guys need to not just stop living. I want you guys to be happy. I want you guys to do everything you want to do in life. Do that, but understand that all that stuff could be taken away from everybody at a single moment, and none of us are really are none the wiser because they keep you in the dark until that stuff happens, until something happens. It's because the people want to be in control of you. You guys know who I'm talking about when I say the people. The people want to be in control of you. They don't want you to have control over your life. They want to have complete and utter control over you, because think about it. It's more of you. It's more of me. It's more of your family and friends and cousins and sisters and uncles and aunties than it is them. It's a real minute amount of people that have the control and have the power and the money, and they can't control us. They can't control us physically, so they have to control us mentally. They keep you scared. They keep you wanting to be in fear, and keep you wanting to believe that they are the only ones that can save you, and you aren't smart enough, wise enough, or strong enough to take care of yourself. This is what I want you guys to understand. This is why I stop and teach you guys how to fix your own things. Well, this is why I stop talking about, having a conversation about, relationships, and having conversations about the community and everybody else and who everybody else is dating. And I have these talks about how you can be self-sustaining, self-sufficient, how you can fix things, how you can save $1, how you can save $2, and how you can make your money stretch as long, as far as you can, using your hands, especially men. You got to learn how to use your hands. One of my next videos, I'm going to teach you how to actually, fix one of these electronic space heaters, because as high as gas is getting, as high as propane is getting, you're going to need as much money in your pocket, and you're going to need know how to fix some of the things that you wouldn't normally go and fix. You would just go out and throw it away and buy something else. So one of the next short form videos I'm going to have is, opening up an electronic heater, getting yourself familiar with electronics, positive and negative, neutrals, and sometimes knowing what those things are, knowing how to fix those things and be a man. Because in the end of the day, it's not all about how much money you make as a man. It's not always about what you can, give to the world. Sometimes it's how can you protect your family? How can you keep your family, safe? How can you keep your family warm one more day to make it to the next day? Because you never know when problems are going to hit. All right, guys, it's Friday. I want you guys to have fun for the rest of your Friday. I'm not trying to give you doom and gloom. I want you guys to be as smart as you can, be intelligent, be the men and the 5% of women who watch this channel, be the men and women that God and your family want you and need you to be. You guys have a good one. Understand that I got your back. People like me have your back. And if you like this content, make sure you come over, tell people about Aaron EBM and the Thought and Talk podcast. Hit that subscribe button, because I'm not a fake person. I am who I am. I'm always this person no matter where I'm at, and I think people will enjoy that, and real people will. All right, guys, until next time, you guys have a wonderful one. Peace.